Long ago, back in 1050, tough Viking ships sailed towards a quiet Norman monastery. Those Vikings weren't after peace, they wanted treasure. But instead of finding gold and silver, they found something unexpected, a secret wolf cub hiding behind a locked door. They thought it was special, so they took it along to Norway. But when they got there, the wolf changed. It became wild, attacking everyone and running off into the wild. Now, let's zoom ahead a whole 1,000 years. We meet Tala, a 17-year-old girl living in a Norwegian town called Nybo. Her family moved there because her mom, Liv, started working as a police officer after Tala's dad passed away. Tala's upset with her mom, feeling like her mom's job change somehow led to her dad's death. Things are tense between her and her stepdad, Arthur. But Tala's closest to her younger sister, Jenny, who can't hear. While hanging out and watching a scary movie with her sister Jenny, Tala gets a text from her high school friend Jonas. He invites her to a party happening near the bay, where lots of kids from Nybo are gathering. Tala tells her stepdad she's heading there and pedals off on her bike. When she arrives, she chats with Jonas, but another girl named Aileen, who's the mayor's daughter, pulls Jonas away for a private talk, making Tala feel left out. She decides to leave early. On her way back, though, she comes across Jonas and Aileen talking in the woods by the bay. Suddenly, something dark attacks Aileen, hurting her badly. Jonas freaks out and runs away, leaving Tala to rush and try to help Aileen, but she ends up getting hurt herself. In all the chaos, Aileen gets pulled deeper into the woods and sadly doesn't make it. Later, emergency teams rush in to help Jonas and Tala. Tala's mom, who's a police officer, along with police chief Eilert, start investigating what happened. Despite searching hard, all they find of Aileen is her blood-covered phone and a big, torn claw. That night, Tala's mom, Liv, gets into researching online about the claw. She starts thinking it might be from a wolf that attacked Aileen. The next day, the police talk to everyone who was at the party, including Jonas and Tala. They're the main witnesses, but nobody knows what kind of creature attacked them. Meanwhile, they find Ellen's badly hurt body deep in the woods and send it for a closer look. The examination shows how fierce the attack was and hints that a big animal might have done it, but they're still not sure if it was a wolf. The person examining the body mentions how far the creature dragged Aileen and that there are parts of her missing. To figure out what did this, the police bring in a guy named William from the veterinary college to help. At the police station, there's this mysterious guy with one arm named Lars who wants to talk to the chief of police, and Liv notices him. In a dramatic moment, this guy Lars insists that the creature is a werewolf, a mix of a human and a wolf. He says he's spent his life chasing it across Scandinavia. Lars talks about how this creature comes out during full moons and craves human blood. Liv thinks he's just a drunk storyteller and ignores his claims. But then, surprisingly, Lars gives her a silver bullet, saying it's the only thing that can kill the beast. Later that night, Jonas asks Tala to meet up at a restaurant. He feels really bad for getting her mixed up in the terrible thing that happened. Tala tries to comfort him, saying it's not anyone's fault. But after their talk, Tala runs into Ellen's friends. They blame her for not helping their friend and call her a coward. Tala, feeling awful because of their accusations, leaves on her bike to go home. Liv tries to talk to her because she's upset, but Tala doesn't want to talk at all. The next day, William, the expert from the veterinary college, comes to the police station. He takes a close look at Ellen's remains and the claw evidence they found. William concludes that the attacker is an unusually big wolf. With this crucial information, Liv and Eilert organize a team to hunt down and get rid of the creature. As they venture into the woods, guided by Liv and Eilert, the hunting team starts their search with the help of a tracking dog. They go deeper into the forest and unexpectedly find a decapitated body, identified as an asylum seeker. Realizing the seriousness of the situation, Liv calls for backup and assigns 2 hunters to guard the body until help arrives. The rest of the team continues forward. During their exploration, they come across an abandoned cave. Liv, sensing it could be a lead, cautiously goes inside. Her investigation reveals a dark mineshaft with a ladder going down. As she descends, she's briefly startled to discover the missing head of the body they found earlier. In the middle of the search, the guards near the body get scared by a loud roar. Before they can do anything, the creature surprises them and attacks, taking their lives in a flash. The team hears the screams and faces the danger as the creature comes closer. Sadly, 2 more people get hurt by the creature, and Eilert is badly injured. Trying to get away quickly, Liv climbs out of the mine, but then she sees the creature at the top of the ladder. It turns out the creature is a wolf. It jumps at Liv, making her fall back into the mine, hurting her wrist and making her cry out in pain. In real danger, she crawls away from the approaching wolf, grabs her gun, and shoots, but the bullet doesn't seem to do much. Liv runs out of bullets and is defenseless against the fierce wolf. In a moment of desperation, she remembers the silver bullet Lars gave her. Liv loads it into her gun fast, aims, and shoots. Finally, she manages to end the terror caused by the creature. The story shifts to Liv waking up in the hospital with her injured wrist wrapped in a cast. In the aftermath, Eilert is still in a coma, and sadly, everyone else from the hunting team didn't make it. At the same time, Tala is dealing with strange dreams and unsettling visions, causing a lot of mental distress. Things take a weird turn when, during a regular school day, her hearing suddenly becomes super sharp. She can even pick up on the faint sound of Jonas sketching with his pencil. This unnerving experience freaks her out, and she rushes to the restroom for some peace. However, she hears a crying voice coming from behind a closed door. Approaching cautiously, she comes face to face with what seems like Aileen, blaming her for what happened. But then, the figure disappears, turning out to be just a hallucination. Later that night, Tala discovers herself sleepwalking, but luckily, Jenny steps in, guiding her safely back to bed. The next day, William examines the wolf's body thoroughly in the lab. His findings bring a surprising revelation to Liv: regular lead bullets, even when hitting vital organs like the heart and lungs, didn't affect the wolf. The only thing that did the trick was the single silver bullet Liv fired in the critical moment. This realization shocks Liv, confirming that the creature was indeed a werewolf. That night, Tala, still struggling with her unsettling experiences, gets a text from Jonas, suggesting they meet up. Intrigued, she sneaks out of her house and joins him at a beautiful viewpoint. During their conversation, Tala opens up to Jonas about the overwhelming fear she's been dealing with since the traumatic incident. Jonas, trying to comfort her, encourages her to move past the ordeal, reassuring her that the threat is gone. As they talk, the atmosphere becomes charged with romance, leading to a shared kiss. The moment between Tala and Jonas turns eerie when he steps away to take a call from his dad. Tala's eyes fixate on the full moon, a sign for werewolf transformations, and she starts feeling increasingly uneasy. Slowly, she transforms into a more animal-like version of herself, with sharp teeth and instincts taking over. When Jonas comes back, he finds her on the ground. She tries to warn him, but loses control and tragically ends up harming him. Tala wakes up in her garage, horrified to see blood on her face. She makes a gruesome discovery: she regurgitates a piece of Jonas's finger, showing that she harmed him in her transformed state the previous night. With no memory of what happened, she's deeply disturbed and goes to the viewpoint, only to find the police taking away Jonas's mutilated body. William examines him and finds injuries similar to what happened to Aileen, but caused by a smaller creature. This discovery adds to the fear spreading through the town. Driven to understand more about werewolves, Liv seeks guidance from Lars, who somberly explains that once a person undergoes the transformation, all traces of their humanity are lost. He clarifies that the only way to break the curse is to eliminate the entire bloodline of werewolves. Meanwhile, Tala, recognizing the danger she poses to those around her, decides to leave. However, while on a bus, fate takes a dark turn. Unbeknownst to her, the full moon emerges from behind the clouds, triggering her transformation into a complete, uncontrollable wolf. After Tala transforms on the bus, chaos ensues as she attacks other passengers, causing the vehicle to crash in a tunnel. Liv, responding to the scene, encounters survivors fleeing from the wreckage. Armed and cautious, she approaches the bus, finding signs of a brutal attack but no trace of the wolf. During her inspection, Liv discovers her daughter's torn clothing and her locket, intensifying the gravity of the situation. In the midst of Liv absorbing the distressing scene, William shows up with surprising news. He shares that the examination of the wolf's body indicates human DNA, proving the existence of a real werewolf. The realization hits Liv that her daughter has transformed into this supernatural creature. In the following scene, Tala, now completely changed, comes home and encounters Jenny. Their eyes meet, and despite the frightening appearance, the werewolf seems to recognize her sister. In a desperate effort to shield Jenny, Tala's stepfather, Arthur, faces the transformed Tala with a lamp as an improvised weapon. Despite his determined actions, he successfully gets Jenny into their car and speeds away. Unfortunately, during the confrontation, Arthur is bitten by the wolf, causing significant blood loss. He eventually loses consciousness behind the wheel, leading to a tragic and fatal car crash. As bystanders rush to help at the accident site, they unknowingly become targets of Tala in her wolf form, falling victim to her relentless attacks. Amid this frightening chaos, Jenny, witnessing the horror, bravely steps up to her transformed sister, trying to calm her down. Miraculously, for a fleeting moment, she succeeds, bringing a hint of normalcy. But just in the nick of time, Liv and William arrive. William uses a tranquilizer dart to calm the wolf, while Liv rushes to rescue Jenny from the dangerous situation. Seeking safety in an empty store, Liv, Jenny, and William struggle to keep the transformed Tala at bay. Liv tells Jenny to hide behind the counter as they try to deal with the unrelenting werewolf. Suddenly, Lars appears in his RV, crashing through the store's entrance, attempting to stop Tala. In a bold but dangerous move, Lars crashes his RV into the store, causing severe injuries to Liv, William, and himself. Despite the chaos, Tala emerges unharmed. In the midst of the commotion, Tala fatally attacks Lars and sets her sights on Liv. Using her wrist cast as a shield, Liv fends off the werewolf as it bites down on it. Seeing that William can't help, Jenny takes charge. She grabs a tranquilizer dart and stabs it into her sister, stopping the attack. After the ordeal, Tala is unconscious and confined in a veterinary clinic. Liv visits her, feeling regretful for not being able to help properly. But knowing the danger Tala poses now, Liv reluctantly loads her gun with a silver bullet and points it at Tala's neck, faced with a tough decision. And that's how the movie concludes. Thanks for watching, everyone.